But we know that remote work for a lot of people is not new. According to the Gallup organization, 43% of US employees work off-site at least part of the time. So some people are used to this, but many people are not. And at companies now, you have no choice but to send employees to work at home and to avoid contaminating the office. Many managers and their teams are in unknown new territory. So we want to help you today look at some of the challenges and what you can do to support your workforce. So Marion, in your experience, what are the biggest challenges in remote work?
I can think of three challenges that are inherent to remote work and that often take managers by surprise. The first one is, of course, the lack of face-to-face supervision, right? Both managers and their employees express concerns about the lack of face-to-face interactions. Managers worry that employees will not work as hard or as efficiently, and employees struggle with reduced access to managerial support and communication. And in some cases, employees feel that the remote managers are not as in touch with them as they were before. They're not in touch with their needs. They're not as supportive that they could be or helpful. So this is the first thing, the first one, lack of face-to-face supervision. The second challenge I can think of is lack of access to information, of course, because remote workers are often surprised by the added time and effort that is needed to locate a piece of information within the company or from coworkers. So even getting answers to what seems like a really simple question can become an obstacle for a worker who's based at home. And then there's more at stake, of course, because research has found that a lack of what's called mutual knowledge amongst remote workers translates to a lower willingness to give coworkers the benefit of the doubt in difficult situations. So for instance, if you know that your office mate is having a tough day and he sends you an email that's a little bit abrasive, you kind of put it into context and it's like, oh, well, he just, that just happened to him, he's not in a great mood. But if you're remote and you don't have that context and you get that abrasive email, you're going to go into emotions, you're going to think less of your coworker. So it has a lot of implications. And then the third challenge I can think of is social isolation, of course. Loneliness is one of the most common complaints about remote work, with employees missing the informal social interaction and office setting. So extroverts may suffer from isolation more in the short run, but however, it ends up kind of touching everyone. And over a long period of time, isolation can cause employee to feel less belonging, to the company, to the team, and that can result in procrastination or even a desire to leave the team. Those are the three that I can think of. Can you think of any other, Wendy?
Yes, I can think of one more that I've been hearing from some of the folks that I've been talking to. But first, I want to underline the loneliness factor. Being an extrovert, it is tough when you're sent home. Some introverts are saying, this is good, I can handle this. But if you're used to being around people and that's where you get your energy, it's really tough. So for managers, they need to realize that this is difficult. We're not all the same and we're all going to deal with this differently. So the other one that I thought of, Marion, was distractions at home. I encourage managers to talk to their remote workers about finding a dedicated workspace if you're not used to working at home. And childcare is such an issue now with so many schools closing. How are you going to handle that? And all of a sudden you have this transition from you were in your office, now you're at home, and now some of you are homeschooling, taking care of kids. So there's unexpected parenting responsibilities. And even under normal circumstances, this is a little bit difficult. But now we've got this happening very quickly. People are stressed, there's distractions. So try to set yourself up an office. See if you can make some childcare arrangements, with maybe you and your partner or however you're going to do that. But some managers may need to help their people work through some very easy ideas on how to be able to make this better. Because right now we don't always think straight, right? When we're under stress, we're not always clear. So it's helpful to have a thought partner, and that's what our managers need to be.